Welcome to the Art Lady's home. Today I'm going to show you how I set up this layered holiday village display. I'm going to show you a quick pan of it, and then I will take you step by step through my stages of how I set this up. You can see how I have different tiers and levels so that I have built hills into the village by using just simple books, or you can use stacked boxes. And there's the overall view of the finished village. And now I'm going to show you how I did this. To start off the holiday village, what I do is I set up my tables, cover the tables with a cloth, and then I stack books. The books are becoming the natural landscape of the village, where it's hills and mountains. That way you have the different heights and layers to make it look more realistic so that the village is just not all flat. You could also use, instead of books, stacked boxes. I normally just stack boxes. I couldn't find them this year, so I'm using my books, and I actually really like the books better because then I'm able to give the different levels in the landscape. And this in the corner, I always plan to have the Santa's village up high in the corner. And so I can have different levels where the little skiers can ski down the hill. So that's what I do for my village with the layers. But like I said, you can use boxes, anything you want to create height and various heights, not just all the same. And that really makes a difference in the village. Then after I set up my books and different landscape levels, I make sure that my plug is accessible to all of the tables. So I put in a power cord, and this is just a holiday power cord. You want it in the center because some of the village cords are shorter and they don't reach as far. So I always put my power cord in the center, but then make sure that it's accessible to you to turn it on and off. So I put it kind of central, and then I know that in the center there, that's where my train station is going to go. So I can just reach behind the train station and turn on and off the power cord. And that's how I connect all the little lights to it. And once I have the next step, I will show you the next step. This is our next layer. It's a thin layer of quilting batting to cover the books and tables. This gives the first layer of snow. I check and set up all of my lights and cords, trying to hide as much of the cord as possible. Then I go ahead, test all the bulbs, replace any bulbs that need to be replaced, and now I'm on to laying a very thin coating of fresh snow, which is actually going to be a polyester fiberfill that comes in bags. And I pull that apart in thin sheets to give it that fresh snow look, and I'll show you what that looks like next. I want to show you how what I meant by pulling it apart. This is how it comes out. You can pull it gently and it'll come out in sheets like this, but then you can also separate it again into other layers that are very thin, and that's what I want, just a whisper thin layers. So I pull that apart, and then I can apply it right to the hills to cover, just to make it look a little bit more realistic, like real snow. And I like the dimension of that batting, but it's pulled in thin, thin, thin sheets. This is what the look is with the polyester fiberfill. This is 90% done. I have filled most of the areas. I didn't do in the back yet because I don't want to put the fiberfill in the back if the village actual buildings are going to be you know, there. I want to keep as much of this materials away from my power cords and that power strip. So I'm being cautious about the electricity and, you know, catching fire and things like that. So I want to set up the village first, and then if I see anything, I will you know, cords and things, I will add more of the fiber to it, the polyfill. I did tuck through here. I did tuck around the cords so I don't see the cords here. But I'm not really concerned about the ones in the back. I'll tuck that one back down in so that you don't see that one. But I did pull the front down so that it looks like a natural snowfall on top of a flat surface, just kind of dripping over like a fresh fallen snow. I like this natural dripply look coming down the sides with the polyfill better. Years ago, I used to just cut my batting into that shape, but just pulling it gives it that more natural look of fresh fallen snow. And next step now, I'm going to go ahead and put in the buildings. This is what it looks like so far with the village buildings up, the major buildings put up. This year I extended one extra table. I normally don't do two. Because I have a lot of little tiny accessories that I'm going to be putting in. But I wanted to show you the beginnings of how I start setting up. I do the big items first, and then I fill in with all the little tiny details. And I wanted more space, because last year I was actually running out of space for all the little cute things that go into this, and the trees and fun things to put in. But I wanted to mention too that the fiber fill is not flame retardant, so you want to either spray it with a flame retardant spray or make sure your light bulbs do not come in contact with that material. That polyester fiber fill material can melt if come in contact with hot or high heat or temperature. And if the bulbs pop out of the buildings, you know, it could melt and become a danger. What I do is I just never ever leave the holiday lights on while I'm not home or while I'm sleeping or if I go to bed at night. So that's something that you want to make sure that you don't do as well, because the fiber fill can catch on fire. Next, I'm going to be adding all of the little accessories to the villages. And I always put at the top of the village, that's where the Santa house goes and all the Santa accessories. And this is the completed look once all the little things are put together. I'm going to show you a quick span, and then I'll bring you in to see the little details. I do have about probably 10 little figures that I have not put together yet. They need a little hot glue mending. And I am missing my ice skaters. I haven't found them yet. They go in the little ice skating pond here. I'm going to show you some of the details. This is just a mirror that I covered on the edges with a little bit of like winter snow glitter. You can see that. And we've got the little guy who is shoveling off the ice. This so reminds me of growing up in New Hampshire, this little village, and it brings back all kinds of childhood memories. We used to live on a giant hill in New Hampshire, and we would always have to be pushing our car up the hill. I can always remember that as a kid. And of course, I love pets, dogs, so I put the little pet shop in with all the little accessories. Now, over the years, I've collected the little dogs and pieces to go with it. These two pieces here that you're seeing, the fountain and the Christmas tree sail lots, those are battery powered. And I don't recommend buying the battery powers. I don't find that I use them much. You know, mainly if somebody comes over occasionally. But to tell you the truth, the batteries are a bit of a pain to put into your, you know, little decorations. And then, of course, they use 3 AAA batteries. Really? Now, the tree lot needs a lot of mending this year. It got bumped and banged. And over the years, my son, who's now 13, he's played with this when he was little. So it's like so cute to see all the little things that he used to play with, and the little heads that have popped off because he was playing with them. You can see here, back here, the fruit guy. I've got to mend him today with, I've tried in the past hot glue, but I'm going to try today some super glue, because the hot glue just doesn't mend this. It just pops right off. It doesn't work well. Oh, I left my little lights there. I forgot to take them out. I want to show you really quickly the little Santa's little house back here. And like I said, I've collected all over the years the little accessories and pieces. You can see poor little reindeer and Santa. He has visited many places on this Christmas village from my son when he was little. And all the little legs are broken off, but that's all part of this village memory. You know, whenever I set it up each year, I remember when he was small and played with it. So it's really a special memory to set this stuff up each year. And I put some artificial greeneries in the back, the trees. I just don't like the stale look of blank behind the walls. So I stuck in those green trees, and it works. They work well with the trees that come with the little villages. And actually, they're less expensive than these village trees. These village trees can be quite pricey. I do like when I set up the villages, if you look here, I like to get the accessories of the gates and the garden accessories, the hedges. That's all separate pieces that I purchased, but it makes a difference. It makes it look much more realistic when you set up the village. Now I'm going to show you the center of the town. My idea was that hills on both sides of the town, and then in the center, this is the town hall area with I don't actually have a town hall, but it all centers around the train station. And this I think was actually the first piece, the train station that I got. But I fell in love with it because it's like a pastel-y pink building. It's beautiful. And then I purchased this tree, this Christmas tree, and I believe that most of these pieces are St. Nicholas Square brand pieces. I'm not exactly sure if they all are, but I remember collecting a lot of them. I think it was from Kohl's that I purchased them. I do wish that I did get the tree that lights up. This tree does not have a light on the inside, so I'm a little disappointed with that purchase. But I wish I did. Now here's some more of those gates. Those gates really make a huge difference, the fencing pieces, and they come separate. Each piece is separate, and you just put it together. And the carolers are centering, that's my idea, around the tree here, the main tree. And then you can really see how the layers really make it look beautiful, and the different heights. It makes it look realistic, like you're looking at, you know, a village. And then I have, oh, I missed the lights in the candy shop. I forgot to set those up. I got to plug those in. Again, I have those artificial trees, and then I plug in some other, you know, I've just put in some of those other brand trees, and they work nicely together with this. There's the clock tower of the center. It reminds me of an old village in Europe that you would visit. And then, of course, a candy store. I just put in a lot of, oh, I forgot my light bulbs. I changed out those light bulbs and I left them in here. Sorry about that. It reminds me of an old village in Europe. And a lot of this stuff is memories from me growing up as a child in New Hampshire with the snow and the snowman. And, of course, here's the hill again, coming up to, I think this is called a grandmother's cottage. And of course the kids are all playing. I kind of group things in activities. The kids are all playing at grandma's house with building the snowman and having snowball fights and forts. And these are all things that I did when I was a child. And of course now living in Florida, these are things you think about and miss, about the snowy seasons. Of course we don't miss the cold, that's for sure. But here's the full view of the village. And like I said, this year I made it so that it wraps around the corners in here. And I hope you enjoy my little setup of my Christmas village and learn some fun tips along the way.